They say don't take hyaluronic acid.
You know, our governor in New Jersey, he promised that trip he didn't do it. That was in his campaign speech. The day I am governor, I will legalize marijuana. He's been in office why?
Both said it today. He said he wants another day. And I get it. He said
What's up, everyone? This is Jack Knudsen here with Breitbart News. Behind the camera is Matthew Purdy. We're here in the town of Moon Township, Pennsylvania, where President Trump is expected to speak later tonight. As you can see, it's morning and the line is already quite long. We're going to talk to some Trump supporters, find out why they're lining up already, why they're supporting him. If you like this stream, be sure to give us a like on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and share. And thanks very much. Stick around. We'll be here covering stuff all day. So.
45.
Put my coffee down.
All right. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Excited.
Very excited. First Trump rally. I've been here since 3 o'clock
Thank
yesterday.
you for everything you guys do.
I'm here.
We're happy to talk to you.
I've been here
guys.
since 3 yesterday.
Since
The
3
first guy
yesterday?
in line.
Let me,
First day in line.
First guy.
Why would you line up since 3 yesterday?
Because I wanted to make sure that I seen the president. I want him to be able to see my eyes and hear my voice.
Why do you support him so much personally?
Because the Democrats want chaos, anarchy, and all they want to spread is hatred and bigotry. They want to compartmentalize one race and make them above all others. And I don't believe in any of that. I think Jesus Christ made us all colorless.
Amen.
And last week on Thursday, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court issued a ruling which stated that mail-in ballots could be counted for 3 days after Election Day. What do you think about this?
I think it's ridiculous. I also heard, do you know for sure, is it 8 p.m. on election night, it has to be postmarked?
I believe it has to be postmarked on Election Day, yes.
By Election Day.
Yes.
And they're still holding the signatures. You have to verify?
I don't
Because
believe
I know
so.
they're not. I know in Nevada and Jersey, they're not taking signatures
I don't believe they are. No. Why do you think they're doing that?
because they want to cheat. They want to be able to. I mean, you got these people saying that you could bring extra ballots in for people. What is it? New Jersey? They could take 3.
I could bring 3. I could bring 3 ballots to the drop box and put them in. So my sister said, I don't feel like going there. You just bring mine and Dad's things. I mean, fortunately, we were all on the same page. But what if I was the evil
Right.
brother?
I got 4 mail-in request ballot forms so far. 4 of them.
Yes, they. I have a friend that has 2 houses in New Jersey. One up in like Patterson and one on the shore. He got a ballot in his name at each of his residences.
I mean, if they make you could turn in ballots, husbands and wives could vote for their spouses.
I have another friend who, at his apartment, he got a ballot for himself and for the 2 previous tenants. And somebody else, a woman whose dead husband, got a ballot. So, anyhow, this is live? Oh. Well, I am Edward X. Young, and I drove here all night from Point Pleasant, New Jersey. It was 392 miles from the Jersey Shore. And I worked yesterday, too, so I didn't get any sleep. I slept some cat naps along the Pennsylvania Turnpike, but I left my home around 9 o'clock and I got here about 8:30 in the morning. It was quite an effort.
I left my home at 2:30 in the afternoon and got here at 3.
and I took off of work today to do this. I took off of work and so it's costing me money and everything, but I had to do this.
Thank you for all the reporting you do.
But you're going to ask me why I did this, right?
Of course. Why did you do it?
I came. This is my 38th Trump rally since 2015. This is number 38. Who knows how much longer we're going to have these too? I mean, I hope he continues to have them after he wins. And after he retires, I hope he just like books out a theater and just has these rallies like once a month, just because we're gonna be jonesing for these rallies. But let's face it, why did I come here? Because, come on, have you been to one of these rallies before?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, a Trump rally is bigger than. I mean, imagine this: a Donald Trump rally is like you take the Super Bowl, the 7th game of the World Series, New Year's Eve in Times Square, the 4th of July, and your birthday. Roll it all into one. It's not as big as a Trump rally. It's like the biggest rock concert. Look, President Trump, Donald Trump, is our first rock and roll superhero president. He's the real life Tony Stark. They should just call him President Iron Man.
This is the most important election
I gotta say one thing.
in the history of the
This
United
gentleman's been to
States.
70 rallies.
This guy,
Rich.
he's been.
Yes,
this is
he's
his
been to
number
70.
70.
Yeah.
been
This is by far the most important election in this country's history.
Why do you think so?
Because I think that if we don't
Nation's
elect
at risk.
a Republican House, Senate, and presidency, the Democrats are going to completely sabotage this country. They're going to make D.C. a state. They're going to make Puerto Rico a state. They're threatening to add 5 more justices to the Supreme Court. If they do that, it'll be impossible for a
gonna
Republican
lose our
ever to
country.
win again.
You're looking at a former Democrat here. I was a Democrat.
Socialism.
I was
all
a
you're gonna
Democrat. I
have.
left. I walked away. I walked away from the Democratic Party. I was actually back in the 90s in Trenton, New Jersey. I was a Democrat environmental lobbyist working for candidates who were working to clean up the Jersey Shore. I was working for Frank Pallone, who was still a congressman, but I saw it happening in the 90s. I was originally a Republican, but I switched because my first wife, horrible person, was already involved with the Democratic Party, so I switched. I figured I didn't have much faith in George Bush, but I worked for them until I saw once Bill Clinton got elected. That's when I saw it. I said I can no longer work for these Democrats because I go to these meetings and I go to Trenton and I'm not hearing. This isn't liberalism anymore. This is flat out leftism. It's Marxism. The Democratic Party went communist, and I think I truly believe. And I got a friend who belongs to a federal agency that protects us that I should not name. Use your imagination. But he flat out told me 4 years ago, if Hillary Clinton gets elected, she'll be the first woman president and the last president because she will. He said the Soviet Union went belly up on Christmas Day in 1991. Don't think this superpower can't also die in a single day with the wrong people in charge. We were in danger of ceasing to exist. Donald Trump was he didn't want. Look, he said he only was running for president because he felt he had to, because nobody else was going to do the job. And Donald Trump was at the time the only man with the courage to defy the tyranny of political correctness and the strength, the stench, the pernicious flow of progressive liberalism, which has been dragging this country down for 2 generations. I believe President Trump was sent by God. I mean, he was sent by God to ensure that Abraham Lincoln's promise that a government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the face of this earth. And true, he's not perfect. He's a sinner, but if you read your Bible, neither was Moses or David or any of the apostles. President Trump is heaven sent. God bless you. I hope he sees this.
And he may.
You know?
I'm from Chautauqua Lake, New York. In our area, the number of restaurants that are going out of business because of our Governor Cuomo for his political reasons is disgusting. I've watched restaurants that have been there for over 30 years have gone out of business because of this. And do they care? They don't care one bit. It's all for their political gain or to stop this president, which is 100% ridiculous. If we don't get this president in, we're all in big trouble. And in my area, believe me, it's going down fast.
11.
So that leads me to another question. What do you think is a greater threat to President Trump's chances of re-election? Biden's candidacy or the
mail-in voting.
Okay.
Number one, the mail-in voting is the most ridiculous thing in the world. If you can go to Walmart, these liquor stores, we were at Walmart the other day, we're talking close to 1,000 people in that store, no masks, in the lanes right next to each other. So if that's safe, then it's safe to go vote in person, right? You can't vote in person, don't go to Walmart, right? That's the way I see it. Number one, don't go to the liquor stores. Don't go to all these big chains that didn't close for any reason at all because they don't have to. They're bringing in all the revenue. So the problem is that there should be no mail-in voting at all. You know, you go in person, we can walk there just like you're standing there, he's standing there. They're going to do everything they can do to take this president down. And believe me, he's one of the biggest fighters ever, and we should be proud that we have this president of the United States fighting for us. He had nothing to gain by becoming the president of the United States. And if he does it 8 years, that's 8 years of his life working for the American people. And I think he's done a terrific job. And that's why we're here. We're not missing nothing. I had 2 boat rallies on Chautauqua Lake I organized. Unbelievable the turnout of these boat rallies. And this was a small lake. And the turnout was tremendous of the people that came. Matter of fact, our second boat rally, the weather was bad, choppy water, 60 degrees, and they still came with their boats. So that's the dedication for this president.
I'll give a comparative. Before this COVID hit, the last big rally I went to in a stadium was in Manchester, New Hampshire on February 10th. It was the day before the primary. Right. So it's big, and it was bigger for the Democrats because Trump wasn't, he had nobody running against him, but he went up there and at the SHNU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire, I think the stadium, it's big. I think it fits like 14,000. I think they let 16,000 in, 2,000 on the floor. And I'm so sick of the press like CNN or MSNBC showing the empty seats in the rafters and saying, oh, look, there's empty seats at a Trump rally. You know, the fire marshal only lets so many people into the stadium, and we're not going to stay in the rafters. We all come down to the floor. The floor is packed. But Trump had about 16,000 people in the arena, and it was like 8 degrees outside. This is New Hampshire. I mean, it was cold. It was like, I thought my fingers were going to snap off cold because I got there 24 hours in advance. I wanted to be sure I'd get in. That's my hometown, Manchester, New Hampshire. But they said between 30 to 50,000 people stayed, even though it was dark and it was near 0 degrees, to watch his speech on the big screen TVs. That was Trump the day before the New Hampshire primary. On the same day, Joe Biden, who's got a stake in a real election going on in the primary, had a rally on the same day in a bowling alley. And the newspaper reported 135 people showed up. You know, now isn't it so convenient? Biden is using this excuse like, oh, I'm doing social distancing. I'll have a rally in the middle of a cornfield and nobody's closer than 20 feet to me and the sun is shining. We're all going to wear our masks. It's because even if there was no COVID, he couldn't get more than 135 people to come to see him. I heard that in New Hampshire, that even Pete Buttigieg, who was never going to win, had a rally where he had like about 500 or 600 people showed up. And Joe Biden, a former vice president, couldn't top 200.
All right.
Did you talk to the man who's been to 70 rallies?
Oh,
Go to a Joe Biden rally, all you're going to see is Trump supporters. Probably trying to sell the rest of the buttons. It's history, guys. It's history.
Trump 2020!
Trump
2020! Woo!
Fill that seat!
Fill that seat now!
20 more years! 4 more years!
Hey, they fill that seat. They can they get the House and the Senate. They can change the rules and have them run for 3 or 4 terms. Trump 2024, Trump 2028.
Hey guys, so we're just looking at the line here. This is the front of it. As you can see back there, it's actually very quickly building up. A lot of people coming over. Very rapid growth. They just started lining up this morning. at a lot of these airports, the airport itself doesn't allow people to camp out as much for obvious reasons, so people can't really stay several days, right? But the people are here and they're lining up fast.
Oh, I like that shirt.
In the mask. Oh, that's we're giving out Trump masks.
More.
Water for $1.
Where's the song? Where's little Trump? Yeah.
Breitbart. Breitbart News. Breitbart News.
Look real. Look at you. Your little shades on.
All right. Now, you said you got here early this morning. What time did you get here?
About 5 a.m.
5 a.m.? Why would you get here to a Trump rally that early?
Excited to go see the president speak. Wanted to be one of the first ones in and actually get an opportunity to see him, not in the overflow crowd.
Right. Have you been to a Trump rally before?
Not personally, my parents have though.
Gotcha. And what are some key issues that you support the president on? Why do you support him so much?
I support him on a lot of his foreign policies and also the guns, big Second Amendment supporter.
Right.
Young in it, but it's very important. One of the single issue votings for me. It is a stance on abortion and stuff like that.
Now, you said foreign affairs. What do you think of President Trump's peace deal last week?
Peace deal in the Middle East, worked between Israel and the United Arab Emirates, was it? Or between Palestine and Israel?
I believe it was the UAE, yes, sir.
UAE? All right, yeah. It was great. I mean, he was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for it by a couple of European politicians. The chances of that actually going through, but it's good to see that some kind of progress is being made in that.
Right. And now, this past week, Justice Ginsburg passed away. President Trump said that he would nominate someone, I believe by the end of the week, to replace her. If you could talk to the president and tell him, what would you tell him that you're looking for in a potential new Supreme Court justice? What are some issues that are important to you in that regard?
A potential Supreme Court justice, I'd want somebody that's very constitutional driven. So, if it's not in the Constitution, don't roll on it. Somebody that's pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, not going to, be too liberal or anything. We don't want another Roberts that's, kind of a swing voter on that kind of thing or in cases. So somebody that's hardline constitutional.
Now, this past Thursday, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court issued a ruling that said that mail-in ballots that were postmarked on Election Day could be received up to 3 days after Election Day. What do you think about that? What's your opinion?
I think that's just going to cause a lot of issues, especially with Pennsylvania being a swing state and very important in the Electoral College. So I think that really shouldn't have happened. 3 days afterwards could lead to a lot of ballots being found, so to say, or more likely produced. So not a fan of that at all.
And this is a push we're seeing not just in Pennsylvania, but obviously in lots of other states. What do you think is the reasoning behind that?
Try to steal the election. I mean, it's as simple as that. People are going to be voting fraud's going to be rampant with the mail-in ballots. You can't go in. People are getting, ballots for dead relatives. One person got it for their animal or whatever, and I just think it's going to be voter fraud trying to steal the election.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Absolutely.
Let me just get your first name.
All right.
What's your first name?
Ron.
Got it. All right, thank you.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Cool.
I can tell you. I got a Seneca. That's up from Juliana. Are they too Not really. We have health class. It's mandatory in 8th grade and 10th grade, and we basically are like.
By the liberals, so it's all about, take your right, normal Americans' rights. So I guess they get their winning. See what she said?
Brett Bart. My daughter interviewed you guys in Tulsa. Good morning.
Yeah, I see that on the news.
I walked out, I was like, I actually feel bad now. Like, now I feel bad.
I'm mad at his wife. I would still do an interview. Not me.
Oh,
No.
okay.
We love Brett Bart.
That's exactly what you were about to do.
Here, how about we get the biracial, the Hispanics. Adrian, come over here. Hispanics, Latinos for Trump. Yep, Latinos for Trump. Get in there. I have my school hoodie on.
Oh yeah. Can you blur this out?
We're live right now, so.
Oh my God, you live with me on this. What?
We won't film you, don't worry. Let's move on. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello.
Dawn, how are you doing?
Great. I feel very smoothly about having no bad.
Sounds good. Let's go over here. All right. Now, a lot of people have lined up early today. What time did you get here today?
We got to the parking lot a little after 9, so the bus pulled out, got us here like something to 10.
To 10? All right. And why would you line up the morning before a Trump rally at night?
I am honored to see our current president and future president of the United States. I love his message. My daughter is going to be a police officer, and I just feel that he has their backs. And so I want to meet the man who has my daughter's back.
All right. And you said you had some opinions about some key issues right now.
I do. Every time I see a sign for the other side, it literally hurts my heart, and I take it as a vote against my family. One, because my daughter is going to be a police officer, and she worked for a police department this summer, the overnight shift, had to work crowd control while the officers handled the riots. The other thing is, I never thought in my lifetime that we would be talking about socialism in America. I am appalled. And the other thing is, how on earth can you kill a fully formed baby and then sell its body parts? How can you feel good about all that? So those are my key. There are many more things, but if I had to narrow it down, aborting fully formed babies, socialism, and we got to take care of our police.
Now, going back to the police, earlier in the summer when the riots first started happening, some of Joe Biden's campaign staffers donated to the Minneapolis Freedom Fund, which has served to bail out some of the people involved in those riots. And Kamala Harris also tweeted a link out for people to donate to that as well. So, how do you feel about that?
I think you can. I think you understand how I feel about that. But to verbalize it, I think that's just stabbing our police in the guts and in their backs and holding their hands. How can they arrest somebody, do their job, only to have those people back on the street before they finish the paperwork? That's an insult to any of us. That's not justice.
And are you from Pennsylvania yourself?
I'm from Bethel Park, PA.
Okay, excellent. And so last week on Thursday, I believe, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court issued a ruling that stated that mail-in ballots could be received up to 3 days after Election Day if they were postmarked on Election Day. What do you think about that? What's the reasoning behind that?
That is total BS. We all know why that is. That's to help their side. They know that they're going to have a struggle against Donald Trump. They're trying to do whatever they can to cheat their way through the election, and that's just one way that they think they can do it. But we have to, the Patriots have to pull together and say we are not putting up with this.
Do you think? Now, what do you think poses a greater danger to President Trump's chances of re-election, Joe Biden or the vote by mail?
Well, I kind of connect the two. Again, I think it's one massive attempt at fraud and deceit. The man can't even string a sentence together, so he is not really the threat. He's a puppet of a force behind him, and they're doing whatever deceitful thing they can do to attack our great president. So Joe Biden himself, the man, is not a threat. It's the people behind him.
Right. And also this past week, President Trump announced he would nominate someone to the Supreme Court to replace Justice Ginsburg's seat. If you were able to talk to the president yourself, tell him what you're looking for in a Supreme Court justice, what would you say?
Somebody who really is going to follow the Constitution. That would be my big thing. And I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about the individual candidates. I haven't done all that research, so I honestly don't know. But somebody who's going to be fair, honest, and follow the Constitution.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank
What was your first name?
Lynn, Lynnne. Lynn.
Got it. Thank you.
And what's your name?
210. Bill's Mafia. Hey, we're on live, taking a live with a live. Awesome. Let's go Trump.
Indeed.
And where are you from?
Are you Right Side Broadcasting?
Breitbart.
Breitbart! Oh, I love Breitbart! Woo! Breitbart! #1 news, baby!
Thank you.
No fake news on Breitbart. Yay!
Thank you.
All aboard. It's awesome. You just like here, like you don't know anybody. You're on my app. I get all of your updates.
Lynn Ruffin.
You said Bethel Park.
Yeah, I see. Have a great day.
All right, well, thanks for showing up. Thanks for coming down, taking the tour.
I was out of town for that one, so this one will definitely. Caravans in Ohio this weekend.
Anything for President Trump. Make America great again. And our future.
What do you guys do with your chair when you go in? Well, you're going to walk inside the car. There you go, now you're in the game.
This one's just real.
You looked up away, it's worth $25 just to sit here all day.
Oh, thank you.
I'll hide them behind a bush or something.
I was like, what's this water? Can I do it? I can do it. All right. Oh, I was getting so hot. I'm going to take it.
I wanted to set that off because that'll be every hour. What's going on? What's going on there?
All right. And what's your name, ma'am?
My name is Christine Ree.
All right. And what time did you get here today?
Oh gosh, we went to get on the bus at about 8:45 today, and we actually arrived on site maybe about 9:30, 9:45.
All right. And why do you personally support President Trump?
Oh, I love President Trump. I think he is the first president in a long time to really care about the people. There's probably a lot of people on the other side who would argue with me about that, but I totally believe in my lifetime he's the only one that totally cares about the American people and what it is to live our lives in this country and to be free and to not have big government controlling us. And I think he cares about the lives of the unborn, which is important to me. And I think he cares about the lives of the children. And, you know, when you see that 800,000 children go missing in the United States every year, that's quite concerning. And you won't see this on mainstream media, but, you know, if you do your research, you'll find all of the recent operations that are rescuing kids and rescuing people from human trafficking. That's important to me.
And what are some key issues, do you think, with Pennsylvania voters in this election?
Wow, that's probably a good question, because when I think about Pennsylvania, I think about our governor, and that's not related to necessarily the Trump campaign.
Right.
So as far as Pennsylvania goes with the federal government, what do you think? Anything?
I think people just don't. I mean, I think people don't want to turn this country into a communist, socialist country like the left wants us to do. And I think that we do want our police. Pennsylvania supports their police, and they support safety. So I think Trump is really the only one standing in between our country as we know it and have been raised here as far as our republic goes. And if we don't get that, then our country is lost forever.
What do you think of Joe Biden as a candidate?
He's terrible. I don't even think he's really the candidate. I think he's just out there as a show for all, because he can't. Anyone with common sense can actually clearly see he can't be running for president. So if people open their eyes and see that, question how is this possible, it doesn't make sense. So I don't even think he's actually the candidate. Someone behind him running the show.
So I think if he is the candidate, which I don't think he is, but to me, clearly he has signs of dementia. I went through this with my parents, and I cannot imagine anybody would be propping this guy up if he seriously has dementia. They would be loving him and caring for him and trying to get him the help that he needs, and it seems like they're just using him. I would never put my parents in this situation and expose him and have him make a fool out of himself, which is what I think they're doing. So if they love him, find him the help he needs, and let's get on with the real candidate.
Now, last Thursday in Pennsylvania, the Supreme Court here issued a ruling that said that any mail-in ballots that were postmarked on Election Day could be received and counted up to 3 days after. What do you think is a greater threat to President Trump's chances of re-election in this state? Joe Biden's candidacy or mass mail-in voting?
Mass mail-in voting, definitely.
They're just going to make it fraud. It's going to be easy way for them to try to steal the election, make things up, take votes away from people. So, I mean, again, common sense tells you that.
I don't understand why we're having paper ballots. Why are we having paper ballots in Pennsylvania? Why are we having mail-in ballots?
Voting, and it's all different.
So, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. And vote in person and vote often.
Now, last week, President Trump introduced something called the 1776 Commission, which is aimed at, in his view, combating far-left teachings in American schools and the public school system. What do you think of this initiative yourself?
I think it's a long time coming. I can't believe none of our presidents have done this before. I think kids today don't understand that we are the greatest nation in the world, and people should be thankful for that, because if a strong America is strong for the rest of the world, weak America doesn't help the rest of the world. And if our kids learn patriotism and learn to support this country, all the better. You know, supporting our men and women in the military, and you know, being involved in politics, and I think it's amazing. We need to know these stories. We need to know the history. You know, people want to tear down statues, and I understand they may not agree with what those people did in their lives. But if you tear all this stuff down and you forget about it and you don't remember it, it's going to happen again. So I think it's very important to remember our history, and it's very important for our kids to learn that.
What do you think is the reasoning behind the feeling of wanting to tear down statues and erase things like that?
Well, I think it goes deeper than just not agreeing with what those people did. I think they want to erase history so that we forget where we came from, and they can repeat it, and they can maintain control. I don't know how to answer that more. Do you have something to say?
I just think they want to just do away with the American country that we know, the history of it, our forefathers. They just don't agree with any of it, and they just want to trash America, burn it to the ground, as they say, and start over with their socialist views.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Yeah.
You didn't work much. Right. One on the side of the bread.
I bought 2 of them online, and they still haven't been delivered. It's been 2 weeks. I swear to God, I think Amazon is slowing it down.
So there's an area.
You guys with PragerU?
Breitbart.
Oh, Breitbart. Wow. Nice.
Oh, there you go.
I worked at Jacob Badge and Peter Robson. All the big stores, all their stuff for winter time, they would order out of the stores.
They don't have the thing like the filter, like you're feeling it on his back. And you just let it smile, and that's it. That's usually like a canned message.
So remind you guys, we are in Moon Township, Pennsylvania, around the Pittsburgh area.
There you go. Yeah, there's somebody from Buffalo.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, we're in Allegheny County, so
Yeah.
like the only county.
Wait, which town? I'm so sad. I'm strange. What towns are in Allegheny County?
That's like this area.
Oh, okay.
And then further down to the city. I believe you're in the county. You're just in the
Yeah.
I believe you're in the county. No, you're not in the county. You're in I don't think you're in the county because I feel like Robinson, somewhere around Robinson, it's off.
We'll ask Andrew. He knows it all.
Yeah, I want to say no, you're not.
Well,
Yeah, back for about 10 o'clock by the time we walk here.
yeah, I think it's. That's why I'm wearing this hat.
The first one
Yeah, farther down, because so many people were there, they had to stop all the...
and then it dawned on me maybe why.
Yep.
Because when you went over the second one,
From life. I've got, what's your adopted 2 children? From 80, I think.
And what's your name, ma'am?
My name's Kelly.
I'm comfortable with this.
Kelly? All right. And are you from Pennsylvania yourself?
Yeah, I'm from Scott Township.
What are some key issues to you as a Pennsylvania voter in this election?
Well, in this one, it's going to be, schools, economics, basically everything. Because I have 3 kids, myself that I'm taking care of, and I just think everything that Trump is hitting on is what needs to be done. We need to maintain it. We need to keep it, and if it goes a different way, it's not going to be good. Not going to be good for the kids at all.
Now, you mentioned schools and children were important to you. Last week, President Trump announced something he called the 1776 Commission, which he said was supposed to promote patriotic teaching and, as he said, combat far-left teachings in the American school system. What do you think of that?
I agree with that. I think that the kids need to learn the history from how we learned it growing up. There should be no difference in it. We should have the history books the way it shows. Any changes, it would be done, it's just, how do I want to put it? I want, the way that Biden has things it's not going to be good. So all of that, we need to keep and maintain our old history, and we can make new history to go into the history books. It doesn't have to be where it's, this, that, and the other, but I'm strong that the kids need to learn from what happened to get us to where we are at now.
Now, with candidate Biden, what do you think of him as a candidate? You said you didn't think things were going to go good.
No, I just think, like everybody says, he's following the way of, the radicals. It's not, what's he going to do when he gets in office? Kamala, she's going to turn around and do everything for him. I don't know. I don't trust. He doesn't look good when he's on TV. He's reading from a teleprompter. He's squinting the whole time. I just can't watch him. I have to shut him off every time he's on. So that's my opinion. I'm sorry.
Now, last week, President Trump said that he would nominate someone to replace Justice Ginsburg's seat. If you were able to talk to the president yourself and tell him, what would you say that you're looking for in a new Supreme Court justice?
I mean, I think it was that Bennett. What she what her beliefs are and things like that is someone that's good. I mean, I really didn't pay attention to the Senate as much as I should have. I think he should fill the seat. It's his obligation as a president to do so. And if the Democrats don't like it, it's part of his job. He's still the president. It's part of his job to fill the seat. But as far as like Senate-wise, I just think that, I mean, anything that Trump is looking for, I think would be fine for that seat. I'm not one for that. It's my first year voting because I was always impartial. I never liked, what presidents were saying because I always thought that they lied. But this year is the first year that I'm voting, and it's Trump all the way just because of what he's doing for the country.
What in particular is he doing that made you so excited that you decided to vote for the first time?
I mean, when I had issues of being on unemployment, I mean, that was there. He signed the executive order. I mean, he stands up for us. Biden, I don't see any of that. I mean, I just see where it's more of a hate than it is a like. You know what I mean? Like, you got, like, all of our Trump supporters here all talk to each other. What about Biden supporters? I don't see any of that. You know what I mean? We're ready to just continue what Trump is doing and make it the next 4 years. So.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
The line keeps on growing.
You can do absentee, but the thing is with the mail-in ballot or not, it's just you can set it so you can't
Yeah, 15 minutes
A little
ago.
late today.
A little late.
I drove 7 hours from Poughkeepsie, New York to see Trump today, to re-elect him for 4 more years.
What about President Trump has you so excited that you would do that?
Well, mostly all his accomplishments, and he does what he says he's going to do. And hopefully that wall get finished soon. I think it's about, halfway done, it looks like.
Is the wall the biggest issue to you?
No, there's a lot of things, especially small businesses, how we took off all the regulations off against them. And
That's right. Just keep the glasses.
Chrissy,
Just keep the sunglasses.
What about President Trump has you excited that you would want to come as well?
I've always followed President Trump, even before he ran for president. And then when he made that choice, I just knew instinctively that he was the man to do this because he wasn't a politician, that he was a businessman. And that's exactly what this country needed. And he came at just the right time. And this election is even more important than the last one. I mean, our rights on every level are being taken away. And the liberal left is so far gone that I'm afraid of what's going to happen to this country and my grandchildren and their children. And we need President Trump to continue doing what he has been doing to make sure that the country stays on the right track.
What about what's going on right now has you particularly concerned this election?
Law and order, how the police and law enforcement are being treated right now. They are so lucky to have President Trump behind them every step of the way. It's just a sad day in general for our country, the way President Trump is treated for doing the right thing. Never has a man been treated with such disrespect, him, his entire family, for trying to make America the greatest country on earth. It's just the whole situation, but the law enforcement issues seem to be at the top of my list that bother me the most.
Now, President Trump said that he would nominate someone to fill Justice Ginsburg's seat this week. If you were able to talk to the president yourself and tell him, what would you guys be looking for in a potential Supreme Court justice?
Definitely Amy Barrett, because she's pro-life. That's it, yeah. And she has a special needs child too, and I have a special needs child too, so she's very good. I think actually you should have picked her last time.
And I'm with a constitutionalist, someone who's going to adhere to the laws of this country, and also a pro-life is very important. We need another conservative judge on the bench, be it a woman, a male, or female. That's what we need.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Take care. Have a good one.
Yeah. We know why.
Yeah, there are some here, and they have it down
Trump's president. Oh, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. I'd rather have that.
If you need it, I'll spray you from 6 feet.
Yeah, it would be. You want my honest opinion? I think we're going to get the House, lose the Senate, and the White House. That's my guess. We only need to lose 4 seats.
It's going to be a long day, and I stayed up waiting, but I'm like, it's one day, I don't care. Should I leave the chips? We can always get Exactly. That's what I was
Think about it. So we have, we're going to hold the old NPR.
I don't want to.
How did we get here?
I work like 16-hour shifts.
Well, you're not that a guy like Trump has a chance. Yeah. The reason
All right, sounds good.
I mean, you wouldn't win.
Oh, what's your name, sir?
Alexander.
Alexander. All right, and are you from PA?
I'm actually from West Virginia. Came
From
up
West
for the rally.
Virginia. You drove up today? What time did you get here?
Just about an hour or so ago.
All right. And what about this is so important to you that you would drive from West Virginia to get here?
The entire future of the country's at stake. The Democrats are, just when you think they can't get any more crazy, they've gotten crazier, and we can't let them take the power that they obviously want.
Now, you say they've gotten even more crazier. What about them makes you think this?
Pelosi's threatening to impeach the president over nominating a Supreme Court justice. She's totally deranged.
That's his job.
She needs to go back to the salon and leave everybody else alone.
Now, 4 years ago, when Barack Obama nominated someone in his last year as president for the Supreme Court justice, the Republicans and Democrats both held the opposite positions. What do you think of them switching? President Trump should still fill the seat? Is that what you believe?
It's comparing apples to oranges. I've seen a lot of Democrats bring it up, and it is comparing apples to oranges because there was a Democrat president and a Republican Senate. We've got the White House, we've got the Senate. Ruth Bader Ginsburg herself said they have no obligation to hold it up. They need to do their job, maybe not rush it, but sure as hell don't delay it. Get the job done. And I think any Republican who stands in the way of that needs to put a D next to their name. Looking at Romney and Collins.
Amen to that.
Now, if you guys could talk to the president and tell him what you are looking for in a Supreme Court justice, what would you tell him? What issues are important to you?
Abortion, the Second Amendment. The First Amendment seems to be coming under fire a lot lately. A lot of the people that I love to listen to online have been tried to be censored. Shapiro, Crowder. I would say, personally, I prefer Amy Coney Barrett. I think she'd be great. And I think when they try to do what they did to Kavanaugh to her, it'll really backfire right in their face. I really hope he picks her.
Our freedom of speech and our right to bear arms and it's just all at risk. We need somebody in there that's going to stand up for us and do the right thing.
Now, President Trump last week announced something that he called the 1776 Commission, which he said was based on combating what he called far leftist ideas in public schools and promoting patriotic education. What do you guys think of this initiative?
In the schools, they're wanting to change so much. They want to take the Pledge of Allegiance away. They took the Bible out of the school. These are things that I think is what made America great. We need to get that back in our public schools. They're wanting to push. I'm not racist. I'm not biased about anything, but they're wanting to push all these agendas down our kids' throat. Whether it's gay pride or Black Lives Matter. I don't believe in that. Let our kids be their own person. Let them judge, on what they believe is right and what is wrong.
Now, there's a lot of, I know you're from West Virginia. In lots of different states, there's a push to allow mass vote by mail. What do you think is a greater threat to President Trump's chances of re-election? Joe Biden as a candidate or mass vote by mail?
The mass vote by mail.
Yeah.
We got friends. Her and her husband actually got 10 mail-in ballots each. What is up with this? Somebody needs to put a stop to this. I mean, it's not right, it's not fair, it's unconstitutional.
They know damn well they can't win if they play it fair. They know it. You can see it. You can tell by where they campaign and where they spend their money what the internal polls say. And for Joe Biden to have come out of the basement like he has, they have to be absolutely crapping themselves right now. They know damn well if they play it fair, they're done.
What do you think of Joe Biden in general as a candidate?
If you'd asked me 10 years ago, I'd have said I had respect for him as a moderate, but the fact is, he's got nothing left. And I almost feel bad for the guy because it seems either nobody cares enough to tell him, hey, Joe, you're embarrassing yourself, it's time to step away with the political gain because they're trying to ram Kamala through.
He has no idea where he's at half the time when he's at the podium. He don't know. I mean, the way he talks, he'll go from one subject to the next, and he has no clue what he's doing or saying. I think truly he's getting a little senile or something. That's just my opinion, but I mean, just looking at him at the podium, it's like a deer in the headlight look.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can I get you around your neck?
Oh, when he's in Washington.
Milford, Pennsylvania. Oh, fine.
They thought it was amazing.
So what would happen? What county is
Sunday there was a flag.
And then also, it's not in the picture, but I have a yard sign.
Okay. Yeah, not quite yet for me. We'll see.
No, I don't have any kids. It's my last.
I'll be honest.
Oh, it's right.
Oh, look at this guy's shirt.
No.
He's got Trump song.
What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Rather like
I know. None of them melt on Monday.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Like, and one actually spoke up, right?
Going away the
I might catch you.
All right, cool.
Thanks.
I gotta get to make this.
Where did he say we can do this?
Hey guys, if you're just tuning in, I'm Jack Knudsen here with Breitbart. Behind the camera is Matthew Purdy. We're here in Moon Township, Pennsylvania, where people are lined up for President Trump's campaign rally tonight. We're just talking to Trump supporters, finding out why they're here. If you're just tuning in, be sure to give us a like on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and share, and be sure to tune in for the rest of the day where we'll be covering things. Thank you. What's your name, sir?
It is the president's constitutional duty to nominate a Supreme Court justice. The end of his tenure does not end just because it's an election year. He's responsible. It's his duty to select a nominee. And it's the Senate's job to go through the process and determine whether or not that selection is eligible for the court. So in all actuality, it's the Senate's job, not the president's. He's just selecting a nominee based on qualifications and work history.
Now, last week, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court issued a ruling that said any mail-in ballots that were postmarked on Election Day could be received up to 3 days later and be counted. What do you think about this? What's the reasoning behind this?
It's just one way to prolong the inevitable. This election is a planned catastrophe. If any mail-in ballots are dated past the election day, you're too late. There's plenty of time right now to get out there and vote. If you don't want to vote in person, mail it in tomorrow.
Do you view Joe Biden's candidacy or the mass mail-in voting as a greater threat to President Trump's chances of re-election?
The mail-in ballot is not the threat. The threat is procrastination at Election Day. Election Day is Election Day, and then it's over. And then all the waiting around afterwards is what's going to create the real criminal activity, if it may be. But one has to think that you want to prolong it for a reason. That's why we need 9 judges.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I hope I did all right.
Oh, you did great.
Where's the food truck? You guys going around this? Talk about how much we love America. We talk about how we're going to make this country great again. It's going to be, we're going to keep it great. The China virus, it came through, this plague from China. Since then, we had the greatest economy that the world, we were the envy of the world. Really, it's true. It's true. China.
I love the way
We put the tariff in China. Nobody's ever done that before. Thank you.
Enjoy that.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
You know what? Where's the channel? Breitbart. Breitbart News. It's on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Breitbart.com.
Yeah, it's in the back. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just let me know when you want it. They're going to be out here for a while.
That was a good interview. No, that's good.
It's usually better. I had to speak up.
Speak up. Well, that's good. You said all the right things.
You did. All the sources are full of shit.
I'd have said the same exact thing. Do it. You look good. Fake news. You've been to any rallies before?
Yeah, don't
But isn't that horrible? He said that all going to get to know each other pretty well. Yeah. I always like to be like everybody.
It's like we just got another busload of Trump supporters just arrived as we were doing the last interview. They just keep rolling in.
You need to watch this, and you need to watch
watch this and read this, and I'm like,
Okay. Until later, right? Okay, so Mitt Romney will consider Trump Supreme Court nominee. Said he would consider and vote.
Oh man, you needed more help than I could give you.
You want to do it? Set this right side. Yeah, that's all. You have to.
He worked for the campaign. He's, the rhino.
Hell yeah. What is
Money into your campaign.
I saw this happen.
I don't know.
All
Here's
right.
my dollar for the button.
Okay, and there's your button, ma'am.
Abortions. And why are you for raising
What's your name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer? All right. Where are you from, Jennifer?
I'm from the north side of Pittsburgh.
Okay. What has you excited coming to a Trump rally today?
I've never seen this kind of grassroots movement before. I worked for the Bush campaign when I was in college. This is incredible. So I'm just excited to be part of this historic movement.
What about President Trump do you think has energized so many people?
I think that he doesn't bullshit. He gets right to the point, and I feel like when other people try to pander, he always gets right to the point, and people recognize that he's sincere and genuine.
Did you get one?
Now, as a Pennsylvania voter, what are some key issues to you in this election?
That's a good question. At this point, I just don't want to see my city burn. So, the way the Democrats have been handling things, we need our police. Like I said, I live in the north side, and I would hate to see an agenda put forward that defunded or limited resources to the police that we so desperately need.
How do you think President Trump has handled the coronavirus crisis and, the riots and things like that this year?
As far as COVID goes, I think it was incredibly difficult. But I think he's done the best that anybody could do. I really respect that rather than being the fascist that he's often called, he allowed the governors of the states to decide what was best for them the way it's intended. It's such an amazing moment for states' rights because what North Dakota needs is different than what Pennsylvania needs. So I think that's incredible.
And are there some areas that you'd like to see more action from the president on yourself?
I'm not sure. I think he's done amazing. We have peace in the Middle East. Like, Israel being recognized is an incredible achievement. I want to see that Supreme Court seat filled. That's something that I would like to see.
If you could talk to the president yourself, what would you tell him that you're looking for in a potential new Supreme Court justice?
I would like it to be a woman to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And we want somebody who's pro-life. I don't think Roe versus Wade will ever be overturned, but let's not have late-term abortions. Let's stand up for life as much as we can.
Now, last week, President Trump announced something he called the 1776 Commission, which is promoting patriotic education in schools. What do you think of this idea?
I don't think it's bad.
Now, you look like you had some thoughts on it, though.
I do have some thoughts. I don't think it's bad.
Okay.
I think that as the left is pushing forward these radical ideals and these things that essentially uproot what weaves us together and painting that in a negative light, I do feel that we need to do something to stand against that. We're one nation. We are united. It doesn't matter what color you are in America. And it's okay to be patriotic and love your country.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, great job.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's like they want you to see them. So you see all those folks. This was in like a state, some kind of stadium. It was a small stadium. And then like there was like a doorway, and then dude stepped out in all black technical gear, big fucking gun. He like steps out straight ways, and then like just disappeared. I'm like, I don't think we were supposed to see him. Probably, you know, that guy. Like how many other guys they got like that? Up in the ceilings and stuff.
And as you can see, guys, the line's getting longer and longer. We're moving further and further back. People are being bused from an area where they park because they obviously don't want tons of people parking at the airport. So what's happening is they're using buses to bring people from, probably about, a mile away or so, and having their supporters park in large numbers at that area. And then they're busing them to the airport in order to actually have a place to get everyone to gather. Because obviously you can't have, tens of thousands of cars parking at the airport. Just probably not really set for that. They've got a Secret Service has to have some room to secure the venue and everything. So that's what's going on with the buses dropping Trump supporters off. This isn't the sort of actor type drop off, if you will, that you'll see at some other rallies potentially on the other side.
What's up, guys? If you're just tuning in, again, this is Jack Knudsen with Breitbart News. Behind the camera is Matthew Purdy. We're here in Moon Township, Pennsylvania, where people have driven for hours and hours to come to this rally tonight. President Trump is speaking tonight. Lots of energy, lots of excitement. We're going to interview some Trump people. Make sure to tune in for the rest of the day where we'll be covering things. All right, be sure to share us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Give us a like, because that really helps us out.
Whatever. Whatever you feel like.
All right.
And what's your name?
My name's Sandy.
Sandy?
Yes.
All right. And are you from Pennsylvania?
I am.
All right. And why are you excited about coming to a Trump rally today?
I've never been to a Trump rally, and I'm excited about the energy that I think is going to be here. I think President Trump creates a lot of excitement, so I'm glad to be a part of that.
Well, why do you think he creates so much excitement for so many people?
Because he's not a politician. He's not afraid to say it like it is. He's truthful, and he's real and genuine.
Now, what do you think of Joe Biden as a candidate?
Well, I just cannot believe that Joe Biden is the best that the Democrats can come up with, because he's been in politics for many years. He's a politician first and foremost. When you're a politician, you're looking out for yourself first, not your constituents and American people, who you are supposed to be looking out for.
Now, President Trump has an opportunity this week to nominate someone to replace Justice Ginsburg's seat. If you were able to talk to the president yourself, what would you tell him? What are you looking for in a potential new Supreme Court pick?
I think the best person for the job, first and foremost, should be picked. And if that happens to be a woman, I think that's fantastic. But I think it needs to be somebody who is a constitutional conservative and somebody who is going to uphold the Constitution as it was written by the founders of America.
Now, speaking of the Constitution as it was written by the founders, President Trump recently announced a new thing called the 1776 Commission, which he said was aimed at promoting patriotic education in school and, in his words, combating far-left ideas in the public school system. What do you think of this initiative?
I think It's a fantastic initiative. I was so excited when he came out with the idea to do that, because we need that in our schools. We need to teach our kids about American history, which I don't think they're being taught today. I don't know what they're being taught, but we need that education to instill a love of America in our children. There's nothing wrong with loving your country. It's a great country.
It seems as a whole we've had kind of a rough year this year. What do you think of the president's handling of coronavirus and the riots this year?
I think our president has done a very good job considering what he's been up against. It has just been one thing after another, and this president just keeps going. He doesn't quit. I think he's done the best job that anybody could do given the circumstances that we've had. Coronavirus is a terrible thing, and I think he did the best job that he could. You know, we had some governors in some states pass some laws or do some things that weren't probably in the best interest of our seniors, and that's unfortunate. And, you know, President Trump is letting the states do what they need to do with the coronavirus and with the riots. He's offered help to communities that have had rioters come in and destroy the cities, and they refuse to help them. So the mayors and the governors are refusing his help. He can only do what they're going to let him do. So I think he's done a good job considering everything that we have been faced with this year. It's been a crazy, crazy year. Yeah, I think he's done a good job.
Now, is there an area that you personally would like to see more action from the president on?
I mean, he does so much, and he's done so much, and you know, he gets no coverage for it. When we watched the convention and we saw all the things that he had put in place during his administration, a lot of it we didn't realize what he had done. The opportunity zones, the prison reform, he doesn't get any credit for what he's done. I think immigration is very important, the economy is very important, and he's very strong on those things, so I think he's doing a great job.
Now, last week, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court issued a ruling that said that any mail-in ballots that were postmarked on Election Day could be received and counted for 3 days later. What do you think about this? What's the reasoning behind this?
Well, I can only imagine the reasoning behind it is because once the people come to vote on the Tuesday of the election, they want to have time to harvest some more ballots. I mean, what's the reasoning for having ballots being turned in after the election with no postmark, no proof of when it was sent in, so you can have the vote happen on the Tuesday as it always has been since America has been America? Why do we need to change it now? There's no reason to, and there's just no reason to. And I hope it gets overturned.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate you.
Well, no, I didn't want it to get mugged down the south side.
I got as many Trump stickers as I could fit on.
I should have done my makeup like Trump. I do special.
Ray's getting
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would have been awesome. Here
I
from
know.
Connecticut, so he's getting it.
I could have. Do you see Tiger King? Well, no, this isn't the last.
I thought about it, but I was looking at the weather.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Jack Knudsen here with Breitbart News. We're here covering the rally in Moon Township, Pennsylvania, where people are lined up to see President Trump tonight. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube the rest of the day, where we'll be doing some more coverage. Appreciate you guys so much. See you later.